Mates, Mrs. Conway, and today is our first asynchronous video learning exercise. So today we're going to do a little video on how to use order of operations, which should be really familiar. This is something you've learned before and something you've used before, and hopefully something you always use because it shouldn't go away. We're just going to really quickly go through, remind you what is PEMDAS and what we do with it. So you've probably seen this acronym before, PEMDAS. It's what, if you aren't remembering, PEMDAS is the order of operations. So each of these letters stands for an operation. It's just telling you what order do we do them in. So the first operation that you should always do, and it's almost not an operation, it's grouping symbols, it's parentheses. So P we always use to stand for parentheses, but we really, when we say parentheses, we mean any grouping symbols. So it could be parentheses, it could be brackets, so we've got parentheses, maybe we have brackets. It also could be absolute value symbols. So grouping symbols go first, and really that's why we have them. They were invented for the purpose of saying, do the stuff inside here first. The next letter is E, and if you remember, it stands for exponents. Oops, I don't need to write the E again. And remember, exponents are the little number up top. It means multiply by itself that many times. So if you have 2 to the third power, the 3 is the exponent. And I didn't go over this before we started, but you need to have these notes written in your math notebook. Now you can do them right now while I go over them, or you can come back later and go into the team notebook and copy them from the team's notebook. But you do need to have these notes written down somewhere for yourself, because writing things down helps you learn it. And the whole point, that the only reason we're doing school while we're at home is so we can learn this stuff. So let's learn it. So the next two, now you notice I did the M and the D, which stand for multiplication and division. In the same color, and that was very intentional, because when you have multiplication and division, then you need to do them from left to right. Because a lot of people get confused here. You think, oh, we have to multiply first and then divide. No, you just do whichever's first in order, left to right. So between multiplication and division, if you had division then multiplication, you would do the division first. And then we have addition and subtraction. And again, note they're the same color. We're going to do them left to right. All right, so now we've gone over what our order of operations is. Let's just do a couple of practice problems so we can get used to using this. Again, you've done it before. Hopefully you already know how, but it's always good to have a little refresher. So let's start by doing this problem. We have 4 times 3 squared minus 8. So think for a second, which of these would you do first? Hopefully you all said we should do the exponent first. So we're going to do 3 to the second power, and if you remember, that means 3 times 3, which is 9. And you notice I'm just leaving the rest of the expression the same. And you know what I forgot to put here? What we're doing with these examples, the directions you would get for this problem would be to evaluate. Because we're going, evaluate means to do the math. That's in your Unit 0 vocabulary, so you might want to make sure you've got that somewhere too. It's in the PowerPoint. So evaluate means do the math. So when you see the word evaluate, I need to use order of operations for that. Okay, now we have multiplication and we have subtraction. So the next one to do would be to do the multiplication. 4 times 9 is 36 minus 8. And then now we can do subtraction, which gives us 28. So let's just do another example. Make sure we really get what's going on here. This example, let's do 27 divided by 3 squared plus 3. So again, let's think about what's next to do, or what's first to do. It's the same as this one. 3 squared, that is 9. So 27 divided by 9 plus 3. All right, now all we have left is division and addition. Division comes first, so that's 3 plus 3. And now we just add those two up. Last step, we end up with 6. So that's some simpler ones, but you might get, and this is something that could come up, something where you have fractions, like a big fraction, where the whole problem is one giant fraction. If you get one of those, then you need to keep in mind that essentially is parentheses. So you might see, and let's make a note so we can keep it in mind. I'm going to use a fatter pen for that. Let's do rainbow. Fraction bars are grouping symbols. So when you see something like A plus B over C, that's the same thing as parentheses around A plus B divided by C. You need to add this, then divide. So let's do an example that has that. So you might get a problem that looks like this. 24 times 3 over 5 plus 3 squared minus 2. Okay, that means we need to do everything on the top and everything on the bottom, and then divide. So let's do the top first. That's 24 times 3, which is 72, over, now on the bottom here there's quite a bit to simplify, so that's going to be this one's a lot like our first example. We've got this 3 squared, so that needs to become a 9. And then we're going to keep the top 72. We need to keep reducing the bottom. So this is addition and subtraction. Now remember, that's actually technically all the same level. So we go left to right. 5 plus 9 is 14 minus 2, which means our final answer is going to be 72 over 14 minus 2, which is 12. Or sorry, I said final answer. We're not quite done yet. Our final answer is when we divide 72 divided by 12, which is 6, because 6 feet is 72 inches. So there we go. That is order of operations. You might have some more complicated ones. You might have some with more grouping symbols. But I want you to go ahead and have some practice now. So what I want you to do now is I want you to exit out of the video when the video's over and go to your Delta Math account. And I want you to do the assignment called Order of Operations. I want you to do as much of the problems as you can. If you get stuck, you need to make a note of the problems you got stuck on. Maybe write it down on a piece of paper. And then bring those questions with you to our class time this afternoon. So hopefully you guys have enough information to go ahead and get that Delta Math assignment done, and I will see you this afternoon.